You ever look at someone who's achieved something amazing and wonder, what's their secret? We're always told it's just raw talent, right? A gift you're either born with or you're not. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? Today, we're going to dig into the science behind unlocking that hidden potential that's inside all of us, and it's all based on the incredible work of Adam Grant.
And the poet Langston Hughes really said it best. Our dreams, our potential, they're so powerful, but man, they can be fragile too. And that really sets the stage perfectly for our journey today. Because the science we're about to get into, it shows us exactly how to protect that potential and really help it take flight.
All right, so first things first, we have to tackle this huge cultural myth we all kind of buy into, the child prodigy. We are absolutely obsessed with this idea of genius just appearing, fully formed like magic. But is that really how greatness is born? And this quote from Tupac, wow, it just hits you, right? It's the perfect way to frame this. Potential isn't just something you find in a perfectly manicured garden. A lot of the time, it thrives in the most unexpected, the most difficult places. It's all about growth, especially against the odds. So check this out. This is the myth versus the reality, right here. We all think success is for those rare prodigies, but then a massive study looked at 120 world-class performers, and guess what? Almost none of them were considered geniuses when they were kids. So if it's not innate talent, then what on earth is it? Well, the answer, as it turns out, isn't really about raw cognitive skills. It's about character. We are living through what you could call a character revolution, where the stuff that makes us human, that's becoming our most powerful asset. Okay, get this. This is an incredible finding. An economist, a MacArthur genius named Raj Chetty, he dug into this huge experiment from Tennessee, and he found something wild. He could actually predict how much students would earn as adults just by knowing who their kindergarten teacher was. Not their test scores, their teacher.
So what was the magic these teachers were working? Well, they were nurturing these 4 core character skills. They were teaching these little kids how to take initiative, ask questions, how to work together, how to stay focused, and maybe, just maybe the most important one, how to keep going when things get hard.
And just look at this graph. The data is absolutely crystal clear. By the time these kids were 25, the impact of those character skills on their income was way, way higher than the impact of their early test scores. It seems like the advantages of just being smart kind of fade over time, but character sticks around. And this is the key, this definition of character. It's not some personality trait you're stuck with. No, it's a set of skills you can actually learn. It's really about how you show up on a bad day, right? When it's hard, that's what really pushes people toward achieving great things. Okay, so this brings us to another big myth we have got to bust. The whole idea of learning styles. You hear it all the time, right? I'm a visual learner, or whatever. Find your style and stick to it. But what if that's actually the very thing holding you back? And here's the paradox, the tricky part about real growth. The way you like to learn, well, that's your comfort zone. But comfort is pretty much the enemy of progress. Real, lasting learning happens when you push yourself to that place that feels a little awkward. You have to struggle a bit, and that struggle is exactly what makes the learning stick. So how do you actually do that? Well, it takes a little courage, and you can break it down into 3 steps. First, you've got to embrace that awkward feeling. Start seeing it as a good sign, like, okay, this is working. Second, don't wait until you feel ready. Just dive in. Polyglots do this. They start trying to speak a new language from day one. And third, and I know this is going to sound nuts, aim to make more mistakes. Seriously, research shows that when you guess wrong first, you're actually more likely to remember the right answer later. Okay, so we've got character and we've got the courage to get uncomfortable, but here's the thing. Nobody gets to the top of the mountain all by themselves. The next big idea is to totally debunk this myth of the lone genius and understand the power of what's called scaffolding. So what is scaffolding? It's basically any temporary support structure you build to help you grow. Think about the chess grandmaster Maurice Ashley. When he taught beginners, he didn't start with all the boring opening moves. No, he started at the end of the game. He taught them how to checkmate first. That little move, that was the scaffolding. It totally lit a fire in them because suddenly they could see a path to actually winning. Now, here is a fantastic way to build your own scaffolding. It's so simple. Just change one word. Stop asking people for feedback. Feedback just looks backward. It invites people to judge what you've already done. Instead, ask for advice. Advice is all about the future. It turns critics and cheerleaders into what you actually need, a coach.
And here it is, the magic question that makes it all happen. When you ask, what's the one thing I can do better? You're signaling that you're here to learn, not just fishing for compliments. It's a direct invitation for someone to coach you, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful tools for growth you can possibly have.
But of course, you can't listen to everybody, right? Not all advice is good advice. So how do you filter it? Well, you can use this super simple test, the 3 C's. Do they care about you? Do they have credibility in the specific area? And do they have familiarity with you and your situation? If you can say yes to all 3, that's probably advice worth taking.
All right, let's tackle our last big myth, and it's a doozy. This obsession we have with perfection. Here's the thing. The goal isn't to be flawless. It's to strive for excellence. And trust me, there is a massive difference between those two things.
Now this is just fascinating. Research on some of the world's most influential architects and sculptors, it found they were rarely the straight-A students. A lot of times, their classmates with the perfect grades went on to accomplish way less. So why is that? Well, because perfectionism can completely paralyze you. It makes you terrified to take the kind of creative risks that are absolutely necessary for real breakthroughs.
So what's the antidote to this trap? Well, there's this beautiful concept from Japan called wabi-sabi. It's the art of finding beauty in things that are imperfect. It's a character skill, really, that lets you let go of these impossible standards and focus on what you can actually achieve, on progress, not perfection.
This just says it all, doesn't it? If you are so afraid of missing the target that you never even take the shot, well, you're guaranteed to fail. Real progress demands that you're willing to be imperfect. You have to be willing to try, to miss, and then to get up and try again. The legendary diving coach Eric Best had a much healthier way to measure your day's success. Just forget about being perfect. Instead, just ask yourself these 2 simple questions. If the answer to either one of them is yes, then you know what? It was a good day. It was a day of growth. And it is so important to remember this. On any given day, it can feel like you're just going in circles, maybe even going backwards sometimes. But growth is almost never a straight line. It loops and it winds, and it's only when you kind of zoom out and look back over time that you can really see just how far you've come.
So let's leave it there. Forget all the noise about innate talent, about so-called learning styles, about the myth of being perfect. Instead, what if we just focused on building our character, on embracing a little discomfort, and finding excellence in the imperfect? Because at the end of the day, the really crucial question is this one. Did you make yourself better today?